I'm Liz Sabachik, and this is Humans of Tango, where we explore what tango has to teach through the experiences of those who dance it.
When I arrived here, I stopped growing gray hair.
Wow. So how long have you been living in Buenos Aires?
Almost 5 years. No, I'd say 4.5 years. Yeah.
And you love it?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy here. At the beginning, I wanted to be here and just feel how was the tango in the capital of it. It was my first time here, and this is still the same. This is my first time in Argentina, but it's been 4.5 years.
Nel Mastrodomenico paid a visit to Buenos Aires 4.5 years back and decided to stay. But his love for tango started long before he made his way to its birthplace, when he still lived in his native Colombia.
In Colombia, there is a listening culture for tango. Like many people listen to this music, especially in Medellin and in those cities and towns where they cultivate the crop coffee. And in 1935, Gardel died there in Colombia in a plane crash, the 24th of June.
That's Carlos Gardel, a tango singer so legendary that his December 11th birthday, which he shared with tango musician Julio De Caro, is now celebrated as the International Day of Tango.
And that was like a mark for us to be tangueros. He created a myth around him, but a myth in Colombia, like we started to be tangueros practically because of that. When I started to listen to tango, I was 20. I used to listen to a lot of rock from Argentina. It's very popular in Latin America, the rock and roll from this country. And they always spoke about tango stuff in their songs. So that created in my mind some curiosity about tango. And one day in a magazine, they had a promotion and they were giving a CD in 1995. I got this CD of Carlos Gardel, and this was my first contact with tango. Yeah. And I have it here because after all this time, my sister had it, and I asked her to send it to me with a friend that was traveling from Bogota to Buenos Aires. So I started with this CD. I fall in love with this. And progressively, I started to listen, and more, and there started to be a collector and buy vinyls and learn more and more. I didn't dance at that time, and I wasn't really interested in dancing. It wasn't something that I was thinking that I was going to do. But while I was in Australia and I was pretty bored, I say, okay, let's see what happens with tango here. And I started to have dancing lessons there with an Australian teacher.
So you went to Australia with a programming job?
No, I went there to just study English and then see what happens.
Okay. But do you have a connection to Australia? Like, it seems like an interesting jump.
No, I had a friend that was living there and he encouraged me to go there and have a better life there. Yeah. You know, like the American dream, but the Australian dream. Something like that.
Got it.
But I couldn't make that happen, the Australian dream, and I have here now the Argentinian dream around tango, which is actually better for me. So when I was there in this situation where I was just working, not doing anything amusing or having fun or even making friends, I decided to go back to Colombia and get my life back. But before that, I searched what was the tango moving in Australia. And the only thing they had was milongas. They didn't have a bar like we have in Colombia. We have bars where you can just go and listen to tango and drink alcohol. That's just in Colombia. You can't find a place like that even here. It's just like a small bar where they play tango the whole time. You learn a lot about the history of tango, the orchestras, what's good, what's not that good. And then progressively started to go to the milongas there and practicas. I made friends with the organizers, and I told them that I had tango vinyls. And one day, one of them said, "Why you don't bring your turntable here and you play a few tandas with us?"
Tandas are the sets of 3 to 4 songs that make up a tango social dance event.
And I said, "Why? Yes, why not?" And after a while, I was playing the music with vinyls in Australia for their milongas, and I started to be a DJ there. And it was pretty easy to me because I knew the music. Yeah.
And do you still use vinyls to DJ?
Yeah, sometimes, but if they pay what it's worth for that, because it is like 2 days of work just to do one gig, because I have to prepare the turntables, a bag with 100 vinyls or so. Those things are pretty heavy, and a couple of mixers. And sometimes I even take those speakers because I have the whole sound system. But most of the time, I just play the music with my laptop. What I do is that I'm digitizing all the vinyls in high resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm some sort of audiophile. Yeah. Obsessed with sound, with trying to make this sound the most natural possible as the record when they were made. No,
Mm-hmm.
I just cleaned the files a little bit, not much. Most of the files sound pretty good as they are in high resolution. It makes a massive difference in the milonga. People feel the quality of the sound. At the beginning, there were the orchestras playing in the dance. Yeah. And once they could use recordings, they started to play those and created the tandas. And let's say that in the 60s, 70s, 80s, they were just using shellacs, vinyls, or cassettes. And then in the 80s, no, let's say 90s or the beginning of this century, they started to use CDs and then MP3s, and that's the gap. When you have a computer with lots of MP3 files, that some of them have really poor quality, because when they digitize all those files or all that music to be converted just in MP3, that was a lot of missing sound. Yeah. And it was part also of what you had to play the music. If you had a computer that had a small storage device, you couldn't put lots of music there. But now we have computers with big storage devices and really fast ones. And it's making a switch where you can have good quality files and play better. There is another side of the coin. There are a lot of music that is in the streaming platforms like Spotify, yeah? And there are a lot of DJs that are just using Spotify to make a playlist and play from there. And when you do that, you have the risk of not having good files, and some are faster than the original recording because they were speed up to put more files in, let's say, in the side of a vinyl, to put more songs in a CD. But also because this is a very funny thing. In 1935, when Gardel died, tango had a big impact here. People didn't want to dance. They were really sad. And then Juan D'Arienzo, he made what he did with the fast rhythm, staccato. And he brought people back to the dancing floor. And the companies wanted the other orchestras to play as fast as D'Arienzo. And even when they made a song or recorded a song that wasn't that fast, they speeded up the songs in the recordings. Even with D'Arienzo, no? Like, even if their songs were already fast, They made them faster than that.
I think it's worth noting that DJing and tango can mean different things for different people. For example, as a dance teacher, I used to organize practicas where students could practice dancing in an informal social environment. I played music for these events on my laptop or my phone, drawing from a modest digital collection, which I'm pretty sure includes some of those sped up recordings Nel mentioned, and even used a Spotify playlist once or twice. In other words, I have DJ'd, but I don't consider myself a DJ. Nel approaches tango DJing as an art. Rather than queuing up a playlist and hitting the dance floor like yours truly, Nel chooses each song he plays one by one, including the clips of non-tango music known as cortinas, which separate the tandas. To do this, he draws from a deep knowledge of tango music and a developing knowledge of the dance.
One thing is just going there and putting a playlist and press a click in the play button and probably just controlling the volume, changing a couple of songs in the go. But I think the function of every artist must be making happy its audience, you know? And that's what I do. I play the best tango songs that I consider that are also very danceable. I used different criteria to build the tandas. I use some rules that are established now, like the same orchestra, the same singer, and the same time, like maximum 5 years, 6 years of difference between recordings.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also think a lot in the song quality of each song. I want all the songs in the tanda to sound similar. And also the words of the song. The words are pretty important to me because they have an impression in the melody, depending on the intention of the song. What I mean is that if we are listening or speaking about a tango that is telling you a story about a neighborhood, it's very different than speaking about a grief or heartbroken.
Después de tanto tiempo de no verte, de no hablarte, ya cansado de buscarte siempre, siempre, siento que me voy muriendo por tu olvido lentamente, y en el frío de mi frente tu beso no dejará.
Playing vinyls is practically like improvising in the go. Yeah. Let's say I go to an orchestra and I say my first standout will be Troilo.
That's Aníbal Troilo, a musician so beloved that his birthday, July 11th, is now celebrated as National Bandoneon Day in Argentina, and whose 1941 recording of Toda Mi Vida is featured throughout this episode.
And I have 2 or 3 vinyls of Troilo, and I just choose a few songs from there, but I need to play one song in one turntable and the next one in the other turntable. And that's the process that repeats the whole time in the milonga. I do the same when I'm DJing with the laptop. I use a software that is similar to when you have 2 turntables and a mixer. Play one song here and the other song in the other side. And I'm choosing every song in the go as well. And the cortinas too. And that creates a really good magic. People are very happy in the whole night. They don't stop dancing. And sometimes they ask me to stop playing good music for them to have a little rest. Can you imagine that?
That's a good sign.
Yeah, it is.
But some of that is like a collective, like that's partly the atmosphere, right? Because you can't expect every single person to like every song on an objective level, but you're creating sort of a critical mass, I guess, of people enjoying themselves.
I don't want to be pretentious, but when you do the things with your heart, you play with good sound, and you play good music, most people Not all of them, but most people enjoy a lot. Mm-hmm.
Mm. And do you have songs that you would say that are not like on the top 100 list of danceable tangos that you think are really great for dancing, actually, and that you play at milongas and people love dancing to them, but they haven't like caught on outside of Buenos Aires, for example?
Yeah, of course. You know what? I think the function of the tango DJ or person that starts to put the music, it's not to show how much they know about the music, but most to show people what they can dance and enjoy. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the combination of being also a dancer. Now I'm dancing more, enjoying dancing more and taking lessons. And for me, the most important part of it is just going to embrace. Mm-hmm. I want to connect with that person, with the music, and even the whole group. Yeah, because when you dance, you're not dancing just with that person that is in the embrace. You're dancing with the other ones too. And it's important to create a good space of respect because we're sharing the floor. Mm-hmm. The most important part for me is connection, feeling like my nervous system is connected to the other ones. And I can even with my eyes closed feel everything in her body or his body. Mm-hmm. And it's spiritual. It's pretty spiritual when you reach that point. Yeah. Sometimes you don't even need to move. And sometimes you are in milongas here that are super crowded and you can't even move. Yeah.
You just commune.
Yeah. But I have friends that are the different. Huh? They just want to do movements. They don't care about the music. And it's normal. No, I think.
Okay, but everybody in Buenos Aires is supposed to care about the music.
Nah.
That's what we say outside of
no,
Buenos Aires. And everybody
no,
is listening to the music there.
No. Well, you can tell that a lot of people care about the music, but not most of them. You know? So I have many friends in the milonga, and most of them they tell me that I don't know what orchestra you're playing. Some people don't even listen to the words, even if they're Spanish speakers. Most of them just want to dance. But even if they don't know the music, even if they don't understand the words, or even if they don't know what orchestra is sounding, they unconsciously feel that the music is better when you're playing good tandas, when the sound is better.
Mm-hmm.
Because even I think for example, when the sound is better, you can go deeper in the embrace and relax more and feel more into the music, even unconsciously, because if you are with your eyes closed, you can even feel like you are in the middle of the orchestra.
You're like immersed. You're immersed in the music.
Yes, you are immersed.
You don't have to be listening for what note is next.
Exactly. When I'm playing the music, what I want is people to be happy and go happy to their places, to their homes.
Mm-hmm.
When you do that with love, you take care of all those details, no? What the tanda is telling to that people, to those people that are dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them don't care about the words, but even if they're not caring, the music has that impression. Yeah. Every song has that impression, that printing of love or the neighborhood or friendship, things that are always there in tango. With those elements, I can say that what I do is magic. And I play the music here in a milonga every Saturday. And the place is pretty nice. We have like a family there. Everyone that works in that place is pretty beautiful. It's like a underground local. And everyone at the end We finish very, very, very late, like almost at 6 a.m. every Saturday. Everyone goes very happy to your places, and sometimes they are still wanting to dance.
Sé que mucho me has querido, tanto, tanto como yo, pero en cambio yo he sufrido mucho, mucho más que vos. No sé por qué te perdí, tampoco sé cuánto fue, pero a tu lado dejé toda mi vida. Y que estás lejos de mí y has conseguido olvidar, soy un pasaje de tu vida, nada más.
Troilo used to say, there is not new or old tango. There is just good tango. But there are a lot of things in recent tango recordings that make it a bit difficult to process, yeah? Because we are used to listen to tango that was recorded in the 40s, or before, or probably in the 50s and 60s, yeah? But in those times, there were no computers. And it's an appreciation I have. But I think that once the computers started to be in the recording systems, everything changed. It sounds different, sounds like more brilliant, more metallic. It's like this process that we're doing at this moment, talking through this software converts everything in a binary code. And when you do that to music, it changes something. Yeah, you change a sound vibration for a code that needs to be processed by a computer brain, computer processor, and then become again a vibration. And it's pretty different.
So something gets lost in translation there.
Exactly. Yeah. And it is, because to stream those things, it needs to be compressed. Yeah. And the compression now is pretty good, but the brain notices that. Yeah. If I play an instrument beside you, it's very different than you hear through your phone or through Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Yeah? And people who know about this, they say that even the most digital advanced recording system can't be better than a vinyl. A good vinyl from those times where everything was recorded in analog equipment, with magnetic tapes. And I can hear that or experience that when I bring someone and they listen to my vinyls. Instantly they feel the difference. Yeah, when you show that to someone with a good equipment like this, because that's important as well. If you're going to play a vinyl, you need to have good equipment. Otherwise, it's better to use a CD or a digital media. But most people, that when they come here and they listen to something, they're amazed with just a few seconds of what they're listening to.
Nel's reverence for Golden Age tango goes beyond recording technology. In his interview, he described a gap he perceives between the formative music of the 1930s, 40s, and 50s and much of the modern tango he's heard. Nel made it clear that this gap is subjective, based on how he feels when he listens. But he attributes it to the historical gap of several decades when tango lay dormant in Argentina and Uruguay in the wake of military dictatorships and rock and roll's explosion.
In the 60s, like a lot of musicians started to do other things because they had to survive. Yeah. And I would say that practically in the 80s and 90s, nobody was playing tango in Buenos Aires. And then when dancing became popular again, after that small revolution that was made in the 90s and the beginning of the century, it started to grow up. And I think we're living like a new era where tango is growing again.
Definitely.
Yeah. And it's a good moment to encourage people to go deeper.
Here's to letting our dreams lead and going deeper. Thanks to Nel and to the Internet Archive, where I found the recording that accompanies this episode, Toda Mi Vida, by José María Contursi y Aníbal Troilo, performed by Aníbal Troilo y su Orquesta Típica with Francisco Fiorentino.